2007, after the Kriegler report and 2022 in the last election, we now know that technology has come to the fore. And we only touched and scratched the surface in 2017, but you know that 2022 was principally around the electoral process in the context of technology. And whereas in the Constitution, Article 86, which is now becoming the anchor of all presidential election petitions particularly, we must realize that in the use of technology by IEBC, the question remains, has that use of technology met the standards of integrity, verifiability, security, and transparency? And I again prophesy that in the 2027 election, there is no doubt that technology will be the functionary and core question that we must address in the election petition subsequent to the elections. Those of you who followed the Rigiji saga will remember that at some point, the judiciary website, the online filing system, went down. I want you to carry this question into 2027. Why did that online platform collapse? Why did the firewalls that we created before 2022 suddenly become vulnerable? And imagine what may happen in 2027. I will say no more, but think about it. Let me quickly speak about disinformation and misinformation in the electoral cycle. And if I repeat what others said yesterday or this morning, do forgive me. I was not invited yesterday, neither was I invited this morning. I was invited to be here before 11. So blame Felix for all my mistakes after now. We know that social media platforms enable rapid spread of information and ideas, often bypassing traditional media gatekeepers. And you know the fight between Tuko, Kenya News, and The Nation traditionally. The traditional media groups are struggling, and you saw the demonstrations outside the Standard Group yesterday. That tells you things are thick, and social media is taking over the media. This democratization of information dissemination can have both positive and negative consequences. On one hand, and Shakira, thank you for being here, it empowers individuals and marginalized groups to voice their opinions and mobilize support for various causes. On the other hand, it obviously also can lead to the spread of misinformation and echo chambers where users are exposed only to views that reinforce their own beliefs. This phenomenon has significant implications for judicial independence, as public opinion shaped by social media can pressure judicial outcomes. Not every judge has a thick skin like the Moran from Samburu called Lenaola, who has suffered tremendously in social media. Many judges do struggle with the effect of what is said about them on social media. I think my skin is worse than that of a rhinoceros. It is very thick. And I'll tell you why in a bit. You know that in Kenya by September 30th, 2022, there were 60 million mobile phone devices. That is higher than the population of Kenya. Connected mobile networks in Kenya, out of which 32.9 million were feature phones, while 27.9 million were smartphones. The use of mobile phones is a huge thing. It's become bigger as we go to future elections. Contrary to what people think, social media is huge. Even my Shamba guy in Manyata, I see him on all these social media platforms because 10.5 million Kenyans by January 2023, which is 19% of the population, are connected to social media. And the radio, therefore, even for Luyas, where is this? Even the radio for Kinamukwanja is no longer where they send salamu. They send salamu through social media. And we know that in Kenya, general elections are characterized by heightened political fervor and providing fertile ground for the proliferation of misinformation and disinformation. And both actors within and outside the country deploy false narratives to sway public opinion. Cambridge Analytica. And you know what you want to know in America? The role of Russia in disinformation and misinformation during elections. Who tells you we are not next? The European Union Election Observer Mission final report in the 2022 elections pointed out that online space was distorted by extensive and sophisticated disinformation campaigns targeting multiple election stakeholders and largely seeking to undermine public trust in the electoral processes through repetitive attacks on the IEBC and its members. And you know that after the, during the petition for the presidential election petition 2022, judges took a lot of flack, myself included. 9 Twitter accounts were opened in my name. 9 Facebook accounts were opened in my name, including one which had the picture of Vera Sidika. Why they chose Vera, who I don't know, I don't know. But if you go to Facebook, I've tried to remove all others, but if you go to my Facebook account, just type on Facebook Isaac Lenaola, Vera Sidika will appear very buxom-like. And you can see I don't have much of a waist, so we have no commonality. And the effect really is that the intention is to threaten, to intimidate, and to ensure that the judgment of the court goes a particular way. And that's not just myself, but also judges of the court. Hashtags were extensively used by parties to push narratives, create trending topics, criticize opponents, and spread disinformation campaigns. In one of my social media pages, what they would do is they would post as if it's me who has posted. And then now they post, they populate it with attacks on the court, attacks on me, in ways that I would be very, very surprised that they did. So in 2022, and certainly in 2027, there was a significant increase in disinformation and hate speech online, circulating on various major social platforms and across all the other platforms. Responses by key stakeholders on these things were very, very poor. The role of the National Council on National, what is Kobia's outfit called? Cohesion and integration was zero. They took too long. IEBC was busy conducting the election or organizing the election. IEBC similarly had difficulties managing the language of social media. We also know that no reports of warnings, arrests, or investigations relating to such problematic content were made, and we know that in fact very few were ever arrested for those things. I had in my paper the legal framework for all these things, the Constitution, the Defamation Act, the Penal Code, the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. But I thought I should probably speak about one case which is important around that question, which was the Bloggers Association of Kenya versus the Attorney General. The attempt was to declare the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act unconstitutional because the bloggers were saying you are limiting our right to expression and that whatever we say should not be limited. And the court found it difficult to agree with them, and that's an important